This is indeed a very important conference. We have around the table representatives of the Balkan countries, politicians, think tanks, opinion makers. We have from European Union member states representatives from 10 member states. A huge representation. The European Union is here in this room. And we are bringing, again, politicians, think tanks, and of course, myself as president of the Foundation of European Progressive Studies. I'm very proud that I'm coming here in cooperation with other foundations. We could join forces, and of course, collaborating with the Institute for Social Democracy here to provide such an important event. And in my case, I will tell you something not only as president of this European Foundation, working with more than 50 foundations in Europe and across the world, but also as the first vice president of S&D Group in the European Parliament, which is the second most important group, political group. And I'm coming here with a lot of joy to tell you that, yes, we want Macedonia to join the European Union as full member. This is really our joint ambition. We want this to happen. And I'm coming also to tell you that we deeply appreciate the move led by Prime Minister, by the government, by the people of Macedonia in a crucial moment where, in fact, and I completely agree with you, Prime Minister, you need to have national unity. Of course, you can have differences, but in such an historical step, you need to have national unity. And I'm also coming to tell you that we will support you all over the process. Full membership of the European Union, this is the right step. This will benefit all people of Macedonia in depth in their lives. But I'm also coming to tell you that the reason why this is happening is because we, European Union, we also need you. You are part of us. You are part of our history, of our culture. You are Europeans. You must join the European Union. So these are my key messages. But now let me be very precise. What happened over the last period was a big shift in political will of Macedonia. And this was possible. You get such an important agreement because we could find a way to respect your identity, your values, but on the other hand, to provide the real spirit of cooperation and European engagement. A progressive European spirit, and I must underline the role of Prime Minister Zoran Zaev. I've been in all the leaders of our progressive family meeting, and I must underline how far is appreciated and how far his government, his party, has been appreciated in their move. But now, of course, you are in the final step, close to a referendum, engaging all the population. And yes, Prime Minister, you are right. This is a moment where national unity needs to come, because this is a very important historical step for Macedonia to take. Now let me tell you, of course we know this is the beginning of a story, very positive story of engagement. New steps will come, and I'm coming to tell you that again, we will support you all over these phases. When opening the accession negotiations, when conducting accession negotiations, when preparing full membership, and when putting full membership into action when it comes rights and also duties. You'll be requested to make some effort, that's for sure. This happened with all our countries. I can tell you, I myself, I'm a European politician working in Brussels, but I was born in Portugal. I'm a Portuguese. I'm coming from the other side of the continent. And I can tell you from my own experience, because we could see this with your eyes, all our lives improve radically. We had a big transformation of the country because of full membership of the European Union. And the same will happen in Macedonia. And in fact, in all the other Balkan countries joining. Because these will be translated in very concrete benefits. First of all, we want you to make part of a European, trans-European network infrastructures for energy, for transports, to support the digital revolution. You need to be included in all this. Secondly, because this gives access to, in fact, the largest market in the world, benefiting your companies, your jobs. Third, because this will attract investment, much better conditions for investment. Fourth, because your social standards will improve step by step. And Prime Minister just alluded to the steps you can already take in the health care service, such a crucial area. Right now, I need to tell you that we, European Union, we are starting with a big initiative to improve people's lives, which is called the European Social Pillar. Making sure that all people, whatever the jobs, they have a decent labor contract and access to social protection. This is a powerful drive. And this will be supported by the European Community budget. So when joining and when preparing the accession, Macedonia will benefit from this. This is a very important step. Of course, you also benefit in security, in defense, because joining NATO and counting on European defense is also a must. But let me conclude by emphasizing the other part of the truth, of the reality which is happening now in front of our eyes. Yes, Macedonia needs the European Union, but the European Union also needs Macedonia, as do all the other Balkan countries. Because you are part of our history. You are part of our culture. You are Europeans as we are Europeans. So we want you to come, to join. And you should know that we, European Union, we are right now also in a crucial moment of our history. We are preparing ourselves to become something more important. No longer just a market, no longer just a monetary union. No, we want to be a community of a common destiny. We want to become a full-fledged political entity, ensuring that our values are translated in all fronts, not only economic or financial, but also social, cultural, in external action. We need, in the world of today, we need a strong, progressive European Union to protect our values. We need to be together. And so Macedonia and Balkan countries are joining European Union in such an important moment. And let me tell you, I'm concluding, we count on you for this joint ambition, and let's work together to make this, Prime Minister, a big success. We'll make it.
What is the progressive vision of the European politics for the Western Balkans, and can Macedonia be considered as the new blueprint for the future?
Thank you very much for this question. This is a difficult question, but a very important one. I'm very pleased to respond to this. Let me first of all start with another question. Indeed, we have a rise of populists, not only populists, I would say, to be more precise, nationalists, sometimes xenophobic movements rising in several European countries, inside the European Union and outside the European Union. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? For two reasons. The first of all is because over the last years, and particularly if we think about the big financial crisis of starting in 2008, we saw the negative implications of a neoliberal agenda which was pushed everywhere in the world and also here in Europe. Very much focused on promoting austerity policies, believing that austerity policies should bring prosperity to the population and would overcome the crisis. Reality proved that neoliberals were wrong and proved this is possible to have responsible public finances, yes, but with the room to invest in the future and to create jobs. This is, I would say, the social democratic way. But in the meantime, we need to recognize that because of this neoliberal agenda, many people, many citizens in Europe, they felt lack of protection. And secondly, we're confronted with a major disturbance in the Middle East, now also in Africa, of some spots with war, terrible human pain, and new movements of refugees coming to Europe. Let me be clear about this. When it comes to refugees, yes, this is our duty to protect refugees and to provide them the conditions to survive and to escape the disaster. And we did some moves in this direction. This has been the position of all the social democratic governments in Europe, but we still did complete the so-called European asylum system. What I want to say is that while we are discussing this, changing the economic policy for prosperity and managing migration in a more effective way, populists are using this situation to make an argument. And the argument is, we are the ones who can protect people. And we can protect people by going back to national borders. We don't need the European Union. This is their message. But let me tell you, they are completely wrong. This is a total illusion. Who can think in today's world that it's possible to protect people by going back to national borders? When it comes to security, of course we need to have the full scale of European strength to ensure security. When it comes managing climate change, energy transition, of course we need the full scale of Europe to push for a new climate policy. When it comes to trade, trade is so important for all our countries. But we need trade able to bring jobs, to protect jobs. For this, we need to negotiate trade agreements with the full weight of the European Union, not small countries. We are going to a world with big players such as China. It's a big illusion to think going back to the... So nationalists, they are spreading a completely wrong message. But now let me tell you my last thing. Yes, of course, we need to protect people. We need to have good trade agreements. We need to promote investment. We need to make sure that when digital revolution comes, jobs will be there. So we need to protect people. But to protect people with the full scale of the European Union with a progressive policy. And that's why I believe that those who are credible to protect people are those who are pro-Europeans and progressives. And that's why I think Macedonia and the new leadership of Macedonia, Prime Minister Zarev, is really a key example for Balkans and for Europe, because it shows that with the real spirit of European cooperation, it's possible to overcome divisions, it's possible to pave the way for the future. So Prime Minister, again, very good example.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.